My name is Amelia. I'm standing in my living room, the early morning sunlight filtering through the curtains, as I'm jolted out of my half-sleep by the furious pounding on my door. It's 6:02 a.m. And I know exactly who it is. Open up, I know you're in there. It's Leo. His voice is raw with anger, and I can hear the desperation in it. I don't move right away. Through the door, I say calmly, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. I don't care, he snaps. We need to talk. About what? I ask, already knowing the answer. You kissed him, he accuses. I take a deep breath and open the door. He looks a mess. He's still wearing the same clothes from the night before, his hair is in disarray, and his eyes are red and wild. You did this to hurt me, he says. No, I reply quietly. I did this to live my life. He tries to push past me into the apartment, but I block him with my arm. You don't live here anymore. I still have stuff, he says. Schedule a pickup like we agreed, I tell him firmly. His face twists in anger. You're being cruel, he says. I hold his gaze steadily. I'm setting boundaries. There's a difference. As he storms away, I'm taken back to a time when my life was completely different. I grew up in a small town, where my parents, Sarah and David, were hard-working and loving. My mother, Sarah, was a schoolteacher, always patient and kind, while my father, David, was a mechanic, practical and down-to-earth. They taught me the values of honesty, respect, and hard work. I moved to the city for college and met Leo. He was charming, with a smile that could light up a room. We started dating, and after 2 years, we moved in together. Our relationship was calm, or so I thought. We didn't have big fights, we talked things through, or at least I believed we did. One Thursday night, everything changed. The fridge was filled with leftovers, and there was a single lamp on in the living room. Leo was pacing instead of sitting, which was my first sign that something was wrong. Amelia, he said, his voice overly careful. We need to talk. I muted the TV and waited. After 2 years together, I could read his tone. It wasn't angry or emotional, it was prepared. I care about you, he began, the classic opening for bad news. But I'm not in love anymore. I think we should shift into being friends. Friends? I repeated, my mind struggling to process what he was saying. Yeah, we get along great. We have the same friends, the same interests. We'd be amazing friends, just not great partners, he said, as if he'd rehearsed this speech in front of a mirror. I need to find myself outside of us, he added quickly, but I don't want you out of my life. I looked at the bag by the door, already packed with his shoes, toiletries, and chargers. You planned this, I said quietly. I knew you'd be upset, he replied. I wanted to make this easier. Easier for who? I asked, sitting there, trying to come to terms with the reality. He wasn't asking to break up, he was telling me. And he expected me to be grateful for the way he'd softened the blow. But I decided to play along. Okay, I said. Let's be friends. His shoulders dropped in relief. Really? Yeah, I replied calmly. You're right, adults can handle this. He smiled, genuinely, as if I'd just signed off on his perfect plan. Dump me, keep access to me, and avoid guilt. The next morning, I treated him like a friend, just as he'd asked. But I soon realized that our definitions of friendship were worlds apart. At 7 a.m. I got a text from him. Hey, hope you're okay. Can you drop off my work tablet? I forgot it in the rush. 3 weeks earlier, I would have jumped out of bed and driven it to him right away. But now, I typed back, sure, I'll leave it at your office front desk Monday. He replied, can't you bring it to Lily's? I need it this weekend. His tone, even through the text, was more of an expectation than a request. Monday works better for me, I told him. What do you mean works better? What plans do you have? He asked. I felt a sharp clarity settle in my chest. Friends don't interrogate each other's schedules. Just friend stuff, I replied. He texted back, this feels kind of cold, Amelia. That word used to scare me in our relationship. It was what he'd say when I didn't immediately give in to his needs. But now, it had a different meaning. I'm being friendly, exactly what you asked for, I replied. On Saturday morning, he texted again. Lily and I are hitting that new cafe. Want to join? This was the cafe we'd been excited about for months, the one we'd planned to make our Saturday spot. Thanks, but I'm good. Enjoy, I replied. 2 minutes later, he texted, come on, we always do Saturday coffee. I almost laughed. That was when we were dating, I said. After a long silence, he texted, you're acting weird. Like what? I asked. Distant, like you don't care, he replied. It was clear then. When he said friends, he meant I should keep loving him quietly while he moved on. But when I heard friends, I thought of boundaries and distance. By the second week, he started treating the apartment like it was still his. I came home from work one Tuesday, and the place smelled like my lavender detergent, but I hadn't done the laundry. There were wet towels in the bathroom, my snack shelf was raided, and there was a mug with coffee rings in the sink. I saw a sticky note on the counter, written in his loopy handwriting. Stopped by, grabbed some stuff, showered. Hope that's fine. I texted him immediately. Hey, I saw you stopped by. I'll need my key back soon. His reply came fast. Why? I still have things there. We can set times for you to pick up your stuff, like friends do, I said. This is ridiculous. We live together, he replied, using the present tense as if nothing had changed. My hands shook, not from sadness, but from a new understanding. I'd been too generous with someone who didn't deserve it. We used to live together. Now we're friends. Different dynamic, I told him. That evening, he showed up at my door, not asking if he could come by, just knocking like he owned the place. When I opened the door, his eyes were full of anger. You're being childish, he said before I could even speak. Childish? Because I want a locked door? Because I want my life to feel like mine again? I replied, keeping my voice even. He stepped forward, trying to push past me. You can't just cut me off like this. I didn't do anything to you. I held my ground. You ended the relationship. I'm respecting your choice. He scoffed. By treating me like a stranger? I'm treating you like a friend, I said. He stared at me as if I'd slapped him. You're not treating me like a friend. I exhaled slowly. My friends don't have keys to my place. None of them come in when I'm not home. None of them help themselves to my shower. He looked genuinely offended. I'm not just any friend, he snapped. Per you, that's exactly what you are, I said, my words as cold as ice. His jaw tightened. So what? You're going to box up my life? I already did, I said, stepping aside to hand him a medium cardboard box I'd packed that afternoon. You can schedule a time for the rest, like we agreed. He looked at the box as if it was an insult. I can't believe you're doing this, after everything. After everything. He meant after all the comfort I'd given him, all the access he'd taken for granted. He walked away furious, clutching the box. As the weeks went on, his sense of entitlement only got worse. He still used my Hulu login, ordered off my Amazon Prime, and stayed listed as my emergency contact. When I changed passwords and removed him, he acted like I'd betrayed him. Then came the board game night. Our friend group had planned it weeks before the breakup, when we were still a couple. I showed up alone, didn't make a scene, and just sat down with the chips I'd brought. Leo arrived with a woman, a tall and athletic-looking stranger named Ava. This is Ava. We met at the gym, he said. Ava seemed nice. I greeted her and sat back down. I then proceeded to crush everyone at Settlers of Cayton, as if my life wasn't in turmoil. Halfway through the night, Leo cornered me in the kitchen. "You don't even care," he hissed. "Care about what?" I asked, pouring myself water as if we were discussing the weather. "I'm here with someone else," he lowered his voice. I met his eyes calmly. "Okay." His face twisted. "You're not jealous, not even a little. Are you jealous when your other friends date?" I asked. "That's different," he snapped. "How?" I asked, and he opened his mouth, then closed it. He couldn't say the truth without exposing himself. He wanted me to be jealous, to chase him, but I wasn't going to play that game. I noticed that across the room, Lily, Leo's best friend, was watching me. Lily had always been the calm one, the one who saw the truth before anyone else. That night, she kept finding reasons to talk to me, with small jokes and light touches on my elbow. There was a new warmth in her eyes. The next morning, Leo texted me at 6:58 a.m. "What was that with you and Lily?" I blinked at my screen. "What was what?" "The flirting." "Don't act dumb," he replied. I almost smiled at the irony. "We were just talking." "She's my best friend, Amelia," he texted. I stared at the line and felt a sense of ownership from him. "And you're my friend, too, right?" "Friends can talk to each other," I replied. He didn't respond for 3 days. Then on Thursday evening, he texted, "I think I messed up. Can we talk?" I read it slowly. It wasn't an apology, just an admission that he'd made a mistake. "Sure, what's up?" I replied. "In person, dinner, our place," he said. "Our place? You mean the pizza spot?" "I've got plans, but we can do coffee Saturday," I told him. Seconds later, he texted, "Plans with who?" I didn't answer right away because, for the first time in weeks, I had plans that didn't involve him. It wasn't about hurting him, it was about living my own life. By the 3rd week, it was clear that Leo's find myself journey wasn't going as he'd hoped. Ava, his new fling, ghosted him after 2 dates. Meanwhile, my life had become calmer. I wasn't walking on eggshells anymore, and I was taking care of my own emotions. One Thursday night, Lily texted me. "Hey, random question. I've got an extra ticket to a stand-up show Saturday. Want to come?" I stared at the message for a long time. This was different from Leo's emotional demands. It was simple and direct. "Yeah, that sounds nice," I replied. Before I could get anxious, I added, "Just so you know, Leo's been weird about us talking." 3 dots appeared, then her reply. "Noted, still want to go?" I smiled. "I do." On Saturday night, I got dressed slowly, not to impress anyone, but because it felt good to focus on myself. As I was about to leave, my phone lit up. "Are you serious?" Leo texted. "About what?" I replied. The flood of texts came. "Lily told me you're going out. You can't date my best friend. That's crossing a line." I leaned against the doorframe, feeling exhausted. "Why can't I?" "Because it's friend code," he replied. I let out a short laugh. "I thought I was your friend now, not your girlfriend." He called me multiple times, but I silenced my phone. The date with Lily was wonderful. She was funny, observant, and present. We talked about everything except Leo, until the end. She sighed, her fingers tracing the rim of her glass. "He called me earlier, said you betrayed him." I met her eyes. "How do you feel about it?" "Honestly, he hasn't been a great friend to either of us lately. Keeping you as a friend was his backup plan in case he didn't find someone better," she said. Those words were heavy but clarifying. I realized I deserved better. When she kissed me goodnight, it was gentle and sincere. "Leo found out, and that's how we ended up at my door that early morning. After his outburst, he started a campaign against me. He called our mutual friends, telling them I was revenge dating. Some believed him, but most didn't. He even called my workplace, claiming to be my emergency contact and saying I was having a mental breakdown. My boss called me into her office, concerned. "Your boyfriend called," she said. "Ex-boyfriend, and I'm fine," I corrected. I documented everything, knowing that a paper trail was a form of self-respect. A week later, at 2:13 a.m. He texted, "We need to talk. I'm pregnant." I sat up in bed, wide awake. "Congrats, who's the father?" "Obviously, you," he replied. I felt nothing but a sense of logic. "Interesting, since we haven't been intimate in 2 months." "It can take time to show," he said. "And you've been with how many people since?" I asked. There was silence. The next day, he texted, "False alarm. Doctor said it was a scare." I didn't reply. The final straw was when he showed up at Lily's workplace, causing a scene and yelling that I'd stolen his life and that Lily was a traitor. Security escorted him out, and Lily called me, shaken. "We might need to file a restraining order," she said quietly. We did. In the end, Leo was forced to face reality. He moved back in with his parents, started court-mandated therapy, and got a part-time job. He sent me one last email before I blocked him. "Hope you're happy. You ruined my life. You turned my best friend against me. All because you couldn't handle being friends." I didn't respond. In his story, he was the victim, but in mine, I was finally free. Lily and I are still together, and our relationship is honest, calm, and drama-free. It's not about revenge, it's just the consequence of standing up for myself.